Hey everybody, today I'm going to try something new. I'm going to show you guys how to make cake pops. And I have kinda just a tiny little different spin on how I make them because I make them unique to my liking. So yeah, so let's get started. First I'm going to show you guys exactly what you need to make just regular cake pops. The first thing you're going to need is you're going to need a cake mix. This here is just, I got this for $1 at Walmart. It doesn't really matter what kind you use. You could use red velvet, vanilla, plain white cake, any type of cake. It does not matter. You could do pineapple upside down cake. Of course, you could probably do it with pineapple. You can bake any kind of cake you want. Me, I'm just using the quickest way possible. So you're going to need a cake mix, and of course you're going to have to follow the directions on the back. However your cake mix is, normally you need eggs, oil, and water. So just follow the directions on that. You're also going to need 1 can or little jug, whatever you call it, of icing. Now I'm doing chocolate cake, so I'm going to use chocolate icing. You can mix it up, but I recommend whatever color cake you're going to get is the same color icing. But this one here, I've already used half of it because a couple of days ago I made cake pops. And I would say normally one little tub, you can use 2 boxes of cake mix. So if you want to do anywhere from 2 to 4 dozen cake pops, then I would go with 2 boxes of cake mix and 1 tub of icing. Okay, you're also going to need some candy melts. And I got these from Wilton. They come in all different colors. I got them in orange. And basically, I'm going to show you what it looks like. I have a bag open here. I'm going to show you really quick if I can. They're just like chocolate, but they're actually vanilla flavored. But you can get these, I got these at Walmart. It's only $2.50 a bag. And I also got them in white and of course in black. What I'm going to be doing, I've already made some mummies, and that's what I'm going to be making again today. I call them my yummy mummies. So I'm going to show you guys how to make that. Also, it's optional, but I put mine in these Wilton party shape bags. I think these are like $2.98 or $3.98 at Walmart. You get little ties with them, but I don't use those. I normally just get ribbon and I just cut a strip of it off and tie it around the bag because, like I said, I make my cake pops a little bit different. I don't make them small like suckers. I make them fairly large, but you guys will see that in just a second. But you're going to need, I got these here by Wilton. They're already open because I put some extras in here from last time. They're cookie sticks. Now, they have the sticks that's for cake pops, but I use these because they're a little bigger because, like I said, I do make my cake pops bigger. So I prefer these. And I think these are like maybe $2, $3, something like that. Okay, so, and in case you're wondering, when you make, if you just use 1 box like I'm going to do today I'm just using 1 box and I'm using half a tub of the icing. Depending on how big you make your cake pops is how many you're going to get. The last set that I made from just what I had here, what I just showed you guys, it made me 14 cake pops. But like I said, I make mine incredibly big. Most people make theirs a half or a third the size of how big I make them. And then in that case, they could almost get 3 dozen. So we'll go from there. Right now, I'm just going to go ahead and I'm going to mix the cake up and put it in the oven. So now that I have the cake out of the oven, I'm going to show you what it looks like. See how it has cracked on top of the cake? Usually that's what I do. You can also press it, and if it bounces back, then you know your cake is done. And what I normally do is, instead of letting the cake cool inside of the pan or the glass baking dish, I go ahead and I cut it really quick into like little squares, and then I take it out and I pop it into a large bowl, because you're going to have to do this anyway. It's up to you if you want it to cool in the dish Or if you just want to make it cool faster like I do, I go ahead and cut it up, kind of like you cut up brownies, you know, to little chunks. And then I'll toss them all in this bowl. And then once I do that, I'll mash it up. This is what it looks like once you've cut it up into chunks or what have you. Mine is still smoking hot. But once I have it in chunks like that, I'm just going to take a spoon or whatever you want, and you're going to beat it all down to where it's basically just crumbs. And that's what I'm going to continue to do. And after, sorry, the camera's fogging up. After I get it all down to crumbs, I'm going to then stick it in the freezer for probably about, I don't know, 5 to 10 minutes. Probably at least 10 minutes to cool it completely down. And once you get it, like I said, all down to crumbs, or if you just want your cake to cool, you can do it that way too. It all depends on how you want to do it. But I do mine this way because it's faster. Okay, so I just got my cake mix out of the freezer, and this is what it looks like. It's really soft and cold. It's not hard. I didn't leave it in the freezer for it to get crunchy or anything like that. The next step that we're going to take is I'm going to take the icing, and since I only have half a tub left, I'm going to use the rest of that and pour it into the cake mix. And then I'm going to roll them. And yes, it's going to be incredibly sticky. And once I do that, I put them on a pan on wax paper, which I got for 50 cents from the Dollar Tree. And this helps to keep them from sticking to the pan. And what I do, when I put them on the wax paper on the pan, I just pop it into the freezer for like 5 minutes and let them set. Okay, I want to show you guys really quick. This is what it looks like once you get all the icing mixed up. It kind of forms like a dough, and it becomes cakey. You see how it's no longer crumbly but cakey? That's the consistency that you want to use. Okay, while the cake pops are still chilling, they've probably got another 3 or 4 minutes, I went ahead and opened up the white candy melts. But I poured a whole bag of those into a bowl. And I know most people put it into a glass. That way they can dip it into there. But since my cake pops are larger, then I need a larger bowl. Because when you make a larger cake pop, the weight, gravity, is going to pull it off the stick when you dip it. So that's why I needed a bowl. Because when I go to dip it, I have to lean it and then turn it. So if you guys are starting out making cake pops, I recommend that you start out making the pops small. But I'm going to go ahead, toss this in the microwave, let it melt down. It may take probably about a minute and a half, depending on the power of your microwave and what the settings are on it. So I'm going to go ahead and do that, and then I'm going to pull the cake pops out of the freezer. After you have your candy melts melted, this is what it looks like. Hope you guys can see that. Once you have it melted, you're going to take your stick and you're going to dip it in the candy melt and coat it just like that. Once you've done that, you're going to take your chilled cake pop that you've already rolled out and you're going to stick it in the end. And what this does, it helps keep the cake pop adhered to the stick. So this is what it's going to look like. You're going to do all 12 of those, because I made 12 cake pops today. So you go ahead and do all your cake pops, and then you're going to pop it back in the freezer for it to set, and then we're going to go into dipping. And don't worry if these reharden, because they're really easy to remelt. You can keep doing it over and over. It's not like chocolate where it gets chunky, so those are really easy to melt down. Once you have the cake pop out of the refrigerator and the chocolate is already, or the vanilla has already solidified on the bottom. Sorry for the horrible angle or lighting, but you're going to take it and you're going to cover your cake pop like this. I don't dip mine because they're larger and I don't want to take the chance of it breaking off. So I just take it and I cover it. Yes, it is time consuming, but believe me, the benefits are going to be well worth it. So after you completely cover it, you're going to wipe some of it off, because the great thing about making these mummies is that they do not have to be perfect. So the more imperfections it has, the better it's going to look. Okay, you're going to take it and you're going to set it down. I'm going to show you. You're going to set it down onto the wax paper, and then you're going to take a fork. You can tell I've already done this one. You're going to take a fork and you're just going to scrape across it. And you're going to keep doing that until you get the look that you want the mummy to have. And you have to do this before the candy melting wafer sets, because if you don't, it's going to look clumpy and it's not going to be too pretty. But that's what it looks like. And then you just continue doing that with all of them. And then once you've done that I try to do 6 at a time. That way it doesn't clutter up my tray when I stick it in the freezer. But once I do all 6 of those, I pop it back in the freezer for probably about a minute to 2 minutes, long enough for it to get hard. And then I take them off this tray, put the other 6 on there, and then pop them back in the freezer. And then after that, I melt down these chocolate candy melting wafers, or vanilla, they're the black melting wafers, and I make eyes on my mummy. And also, in case you guys want to know, I didn't use the full 2 bags of the white to make the mummies. I used 1.5, and I still had some left over. I'd say I probably had enough left to do 1 more cake pop, so it just varies how big you make them, etc. I'm going to go ahead and stick these in the freezer. I already put the eyes on them, and then I'll be right back to show you guys what the finished product looks like, including how I wrap it up. Okay, here's the finished product, you guys. This is what my yummy mummies look like. I personally don't really mind if they have the flat back on them, but the little bit aside here that's sticking out, I do normally trim that off so it's not seen as far as presentation goes. But clearly you see how big they are. They're about the size of the palm of my hand, where normal cake pops are about the size of a sucker or a lollipop. And I went ahead and put 1 in a bag. Since I'm only giving these to family, I went ahead and used the ties. Normally I don't. Like I said, I use ribbon, but this is pretty much what they look like. And I hope you guys like my recipe. I hope you give it a try, and just leave it in the comments below if you want to see how I do other cake pops or any other type of recipes, because there's plenty that I could show you guys. And thanks for watching my video, and I will see you guys later. Bye. And also, you're going to need an ingredient that I'm missing. Running all over the kitchen. Okay, I found it. I'm sorry. This is so unprofessional. I'm eating chocolate cake. So unhealthy.